Hello again, friends. Welcome to subscribers. I'm Brian from Apex Detail. Today we're going to do a complete headlight restoration. And by that I mean when you're done with a job, you should never have it return for the same type of problem. Oxidation, peeling, flaking, just overall cloudiness of the lens. Now there are ways to clear them up temporarily to help pass inspection, or with some evening or nighttime driving. You could pass a polisher or a rotary over the area and maybe seal it or put a wax over there. That's going to come back within a few months, a few short months, guys. You have to remove that original factory failing coat over the lens and then replace it with a non-yellowing, non-flaking, non-cracking, high quality coat of its own, and you'll never see it back again, guys. I use the KBS Clear Diamond coat. And we're going to take a look at the whole process today. So let's head out into the shop. I'm going to show you exactly what to do, how to protect it, and what to use. This customer here is having his headlights restored completely at just the right time. They're starting to fail, but only at the ridge that's facing up towards the sun. It's getting the most UVA UVB damage, and the clear coating on this headlight is failing right there at the top, and it will spread down to the bottom of the headlight, impeding the light coming out, making it hard to see at nighttime. It definitely won't pass inspection. What are we going to do first? Well, we're going to protect the surrounding areas of the headlight. We're going to cover the car, and what I do is put a whole large, one single sheet over the vehicle so I don't have to tape up edges and pieces of plastic together. And I'll just cut holes out for the headlights so I can get to them. Why all the plastic? Well, I don't want to be cleaning up overspray on any part of the vehicle. And there will be overspray because we are going to replace that factory coating with one that's even better. Now, next up is the most important part of the protection around the headlight, and that's the masking of anything, plastic trim, painted surfaces, the headlight bezel that's around it. I put 2, sometimes 3 layers of that masking tape to protect in case the sanding disc goes over the edge of the headlight and bumps up against that material. If you have to replace it, well, there goes all the labor you just did, plus you may have to shell more out of your pocket. We're good to go when it comes to protection. What are we going to use to restore these headlights? I'm going to grab my Flex PE8 compact rotary, and I'll grab the 800 grit 3M discs, hook and loop. And I'm going to attach that, grab a little 32-ounce bottle of water, and we're going to take that original coating of the headlight completely off from top to bottom, and we can't miss an inch. I personally choose to start with the 800 grit for a reason. It happens to be the perfect balance to start on these soft plastic headlight lenses. There's not much to them. You start with 600 or lower, you're going to be putting some deep sanding grit grooves into the plastic that you'll have to spend more time in the next step removing. The perfect balance is starting with 800 grit. From there you could jump all the way up to 3000 grit and quickly and easily remove the sand marks from the 800 grit and move on to the next step, preparation of the coating of the lens. The white milky residue is the leftover coating for the headlight lens. I have the speed of the rotary at its lowest setting, speed number 1. We don't need a lot of speed. You're going to have a lot of sling of the residue if you turn it up really high, and there's really no need to rush. There's not a huge area to work here. Take your time, do it right. Now, a question I often get asked is, how do you know how far to sand down? Well, that's easy. I'm going to stop halfway through the process and show you exactly what to look for. Now, it's difficult to do this, and if you're by yourself and don't have a continuous water feed with your sander, just reach down, have a bottle next to you with water, and get some water in around that sanding disc to clear away some of the spent coating or the residue. You keep that out of the sanding disc, it'll keep cutting effectively and quickly. So let me remove the residue, and I'll show you exactly what to look for. What will slowly be revealed are clear marks that are still mixed in with the haziness or the sand marks from the 800 grit. Well, that's still some of the original coating on the lens that you have to remove. This is what to look for. Keep sanding until all of those clear spots are removed. The cut on the existing disc is starting to slow down a bit, so I'm going to replace it. I have a box right next to me ready to go. We're going to slap a new 3M 800 grit disc on there, hook and loop, and we're going to get right back to work. We're going to finish up, get rid of that coat completely. The whole process, the restoration of both headlights, once you get a system going, should not take longer than an hour, hour and 15 minutes. Anytime after that is going to be the vehicle parked in a corner somewhere, curing, and the coating drying. Now, you consider what you're going to charge for this. That is a decent hour. Now, this is what a headlight lens should look like with the original coating sanded off of there. So we're going to go to the next step, and the next step is just removing the sand marks from that 800 grit. The 800 grit is aggressive enough to remove that coating, but just doesn't put real deep grooves into the plastic, so all we need is a 3000 grit Trizact disc, foam disc for that. We're going to attach it, we're going to get some water on the lens, spray the disc, and smooth it out just a little bit. At this stage of the game, if you see some tiny clear spots still remaining on the lens, this next step should take care of both removing them and removing the sand marks from the 800 grit. After this step, you should be good to go. I'll show you what to do to prep to get it scuffed correctly and properly for the coating to adhere to. You can probably already see that the lens is clearing up little by little just by doing some sanding here. Okay, now this step here is complete. Let me rinse off the residue, wipe it down, dry it the best we can. Let it dry before you go to the next step because I want to show you exactly what to look for. This is what it looks like after the 3000 grit has removed the sand marks from the 800 grit. If you look closely, you'll see the circular motion of the rotary through the 3000 grit sand disc. Well, we're going to do two things in this next step. We're going to both remove those marks and then also scuff it uniformly so that coating can adhere to it and not peel off in the future. Okay, for that I grabbed my foam block left over from a 3M Headlight Restoration Kit. It's easy enough to make your own. Make one that fits the palm of your hand, or you can order some of the Rid sticks or whatever's out there that fits your hand properly. I make these scuff marks and remove the swirl marks from the 3000 grit sandpaper by using a uniform motion from left to right. This is what it looks like after that step and process. We are now ready to coat the lens. I use the KBS Clear DIAMOND Finish. It's a permanent coat. It's non-yellowing, it's a hard coat, doesn't crack or chip. It's ready to spray. You don't need to add a reducer or a hardener. It's good to go. Obviously a must to wear protection, especially for your lungs, especially if you don't have a bay that is ventilated. I'm using a gravity-fed 40 psi air-regulated sprayer. Each layer, guys, if you go too thick, you're going to run into problems. It's going to look like it's going to crack. You'll see exactly what I mean if you go too thick. Thin layers, 2 or 3 layers, half an hour in between each layer, and they'll turn out brand new like this. Okay guys, so when it comes to pricing for a service like that, and let's take that rover we just did into consideration when it comes to pricing. I'm going to go online, I'm going to find the most reasonable pair of OEM replacements. By the way, each one would cost $525, so a full set would be well over $1,000 for that customer. My guidelines are I'm going to charge a little over half of what it would cost to replace them. His savings are going to be well over $500. And he's going to get a headlight that's just as good, most of the times better than what he's going to get to replace headlights on his vehicle without tearing the front of the vehicle apart to do it. Yes, you can use a polisher or a rotary to clear up the lens temporarily, put a wax or a sealant. You're going to get that back because you have to take that original coating off that's failing, because it will continue to fail even after you polish away the first few layers of damage and oxidation off of there. I want you guys to be profitable, successful, happy, and if you have any questions to help you to get there, never hesitate. I'm here for you guys. Have a good one. This is Brian from Apex Detail. Catch you in the next video.